Hello, hi, yes, Jacob here, coming at you all with a message. Today, I want to tell you about Bionicle. But just because I want to doesn't mean I'm going to. I have things to share with you folks today, and thanks to the limited nature of human communication, I cannot talk about all of them at the same time. So, to make sure everyone gets all the important information, even if they don't stick around through the entire video, I'm going to give a TLDR rundown of everything I'm going to be talking about today, then loop back around and go into more detail. So if you don't want to stick around for the whole thing, you can still get most of the info by watching the first few minutes, all while conserving your fleeting man hours here in the mortal realm. Subject number 1, if you're watching this video on the day of release, you may be asking, Jacob, where's my Friday dose of anime nonsense? Well, friends, I apologize, but the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough is going on a brief hiatus. There are several reasons for this that I'll get into later if you care to stick around, but to put it simply, the final batch of episodes are not ready to air, and I am very, very tired. Unlike past instances of our show going on hiatus, this will be a controlled break, and the show will return on March 13th. Please think of this as a sort of mid-season break or something like that. The channel will not be completely dead in the meantime. To make up for this delay, I plan on streaming at least twice a week, if at all possible. I'll be playing some other anime video games like Gravity Rush and Titanfall 2. Now, as most of you already know, our playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3 was filmed in February of 2019. With that in mind, some of you have been looking at the release dates on our recent videos and asking, why? Joey and I absolutely worked our asses off throughout January and February of 2019 to film all that remained of the KH series as quickly as we could, so that we could get to the conclusion of Kingdom Hearts 3 as spoiler-free as humanly possible. This was completely exhausting, and as soon as we were done, I had to dive headfirst into my final semester of college. Though I did have some free time, I spent most of that time very tired, and the prospect of wading through the edit of Coded, Dream Drop Distance 0.2, a recap of mobile games that I would have to construct from the ground up, and a playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 3 was not my idea of a good time. Though I returned to editing Dream Drop Distance after graduating, I was tired and frankly had more important things to do. In a desire to avoid any delays once the series did start back up, I wanted to make significant headway on all of these videos so that I would hopefully be able to keep up with the release schedule. But I also wanted the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough to at least premiere before the ending of 2019. This resulted in a lot of work, perpetual work, that I've been doing for months, and I have to stop. This delay will hopefully ensure that our next playthrough releases smoothly and on schedule, and that I can finish some brand new videos for the main Frustrated Jacob channel as well. Also, you know, maybe feel slightly less horrible. Next up, hey Jacob, why is it that sometimes your videos are like an hour and a half long and other times they're like 25 minutes long? Basically, I want episodes to feel like they have a beginning, middle, and end, but I also want to avoid going over an hour where I can to ensure that the videos remain digestible. I'll talk about my actual thought process on the editing of individual episodes in some more detail later, but for now, I'll ask you to consider a second mathematical factor. Let's say that Joey and I meet to film something. We film for about 6 hours. Considering that our schedules rarely align, we may not be able to film again for a few weeks, or even a month or two. So now I must set about the task of editing the 6 hours we filmed. If I turn that 6 hours into 6 individual hour-long episodes and release 3 episodes a week, I will be out of content in just 2 weeks. Alternatively, if I turn those 6 hours into 30-minute long episodes, I will have content for 4 weeks, drastically reducing the chances of a lengthy delay. I'll be frank, I pushed myself to release 5 episodes of Dream Drop Distance a week because I knew that everyone wanted to see Kingdom Hearts 3. This may have been a mistake. I always planned to ease off the gas and go back to 3 episodes a week with Kingdom Hearts 3, but the damage had already been done. Combine this with the fact that most episodes of the Kingdom Hearts 3 LP have been over 40 minutes long, and I have burnt myself out trying to maintain the schedule. My desire to air the rest of the Kingdom Hearts series quickly, both because I knew you were all clamoring for it and because I wanted to be able to move on to other things, has resulted in exhaustion and a delay, meaning it will take even longer to get these videos out of my face.
Ironic.
But Jacob, why don't you just pay somebody else to edit the videos for you?
Now you're just being cute. I can't.
Hire an editor.
It's
cost prohibitive. Okay, next topic. So last summer I said in videos and in the description of our Patreon page that our channels had an expiration date, and that date might be before the end of 2020. I didn't really go into a ton of detail about what I meant, and now seems like as good a time as any to elaborate and clarify, especially since I have more information now. Basically, it boils down to our ability to make videos. Right now, Joey and I live in the same area, but if one of us moves away for whatever reason, then our ability to make videos is obviously gone. Last year, as I was wrapping up college, my thought process was that I might leave town in the fall of 2020, either to attend graduate school or to seek employment. As of right now, that isn't the plan. I think the channel is probably safe through 2020, but I mean, technically, I suppose anything could happen, so we'll see. Again, I'll go into more detail later.
We are going to live forever.
I didn't say that. I just said we're not
dying this year.
Where is Aidan? And what did you do to her? Well, you see, she's been locked away in the highest room of the tallest tower and...
Nah, she's just busy. She's in college and doesn't have a ton of time to devote to filming. Honestly, at the time of this video's recording, I've only seen her in person once since the day that we filmed the finale of the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough. When will she be back? Will she be back at all? I don't know, that's up to her. I can't tell her what to do. Last major subject people keep asking about, what are you guys playing next?
My secret.
We're not announcing anything right now, but I can say that several new projects are already being filmed. Part of the reason for the Kingdom Hearts 3 delay is to make sure that I can get the next project out in a timely manner after Kingdom Hearts 3 is over.
Oh, all right, that's the overview. If you want to hear more details, I'm gonna get into it now. This might be a little rambly and long-winded, so buckle up for a slow and boring ride.
I just don't particularly want to. All right, here we go. We're gonna go through all that in a wee bit more detail now. Right up front, I needed to both explain that the KH3 playthrough was going away for a little while and when it would be back, and also I figured I'd take the opportunity to field some questions that I get asked often, either on streams or in comment sections or on Twitter or whatever, and I am getting sick of answering them, so I thought I would just make a video so that the next time somebody asks, I can just say, go watch the first 6 minutes of that video, please. But yeah, now I'm going to, without a script, talk about all this stuff in a little bit more detail. Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough getting delayed for a couple of weeks. Sorry about that, everybody. It's just kind of what's got to happen. And to explain specifically why I say it's got to happen. So while I could hurry and finish the playthrough on time and without breaking the schedule, the bigger problem is that whenever delays do occur, at least historically speaking, there tends to be a significant drop-off in viewership. And I hope that won't be as much of a problem this time around because I've said the specific date that we're going to be back as opposed to the videos just going away. But, you know, people break habits. They're not going to the same place. Like the Birth by Sleep playthrough got delayed midway through Aqua's campaign, and viewership was properly halved when it came back. Not that viewership and numbers are everything, but they are nice. And basically with the way things are right now, even if I had really pushed myself to finish Kingdom Hearts 3, there was probably going to be a delay before or during our next playthrough anyway. And considering that delays can often harm viewership significantly, I would rather take the delay and the potential hit in the middle of Kingdom Hearts 3 right before all of the stuff that everybody wants to see happens, as opposed to at a random point where I get burnt out in the middle of an as of yet untested playthrough. So yes, a little bit cynical, I know, but that is the way that it is. And to be clear, I mean, our channel's small potatoes, our numbers are small potatoes. If anything, I'm more concerned about, I guess I have to think about growth. You know, what we actually have is not really that big of a deal, but I mean, I talk about this practical stuff primarily because I'm just a private person and I don't like talking about myself. But I mean, to be real, I'm just tired and I don't want to burn out. I don't want to put myself in an unhealthy situation right now. And this, on top of other things that I'm doing, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. So I just need a second to space this out and I need a little bit of extra time so I don't hurt myself. Moving on to kind of the next thing that I already talked about of the whole, you know, so why did it take so long? Because that contributes to why the delay is happening, because I'm sure there are some people going, how on earth can it be delayed if you shot it in February of last year? It's been literally a year since you shot it. How have you not had enough time to edit it? We shot the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough in the summer of 2018. I gotta say that. We finished it in the summer of 2018. We started well before that. And then kind of moving throughout the fall, Joey and I were able to meet very sporadically to film to film Birth by Sleep. And I don't think we finished Birth by Sleep until December of 2018. Shortly after that, I moved into a new house in January of 2019. So I had a lot going on, but in the midst of all of that, Joey and I were determined to get all of Kingdom Hearts done before KH3 came out, so that we could play it quickly, so that the game would not be ruined for me, as games always are, because that's the way that it be. So we filmed I shouldn't say all of, because this wasn't too difficult. We filmed the days in the coded movies, I believe in just one day. I think we probably did that in an afternoon. Then moved on to Dream Drop, which I had to. That was the main reason we did the Chain of Memory saves coming, was because we literally had three. We filmed that in 3 recording sessions, and I think 2 of those recording sessions might have been on the same weekend, if I recall correctly. We were pushing ourselves really hard. And then 0.2, which took, we started filming 0.2 the night that we finished DDD, because KH3 was coming out later that week, but we both felt lousy, and it was after midnight, and Joey had other things to do, so we said screw it, and we finished it on the day when we started filming KH3 instead, which was shortly after KH3 came out. Then filmed Kingdom Hearts 3 every weekend that we could get in February, and then, like I said, off into college stuff now. Editing, if you guys will recall, around this time, the Birth by Sleep playthrough was coming out, and in February was when it got delayed, when we were shooting Kingdom Hearts 3. It came back in March, and I finished it, and then the first episode of Coded came out, and then everything stopped. That was basically just because I was working, and when the first part of Coded came out and everything stopped, I had edited the majority of Coded, and I kind of moved on and started on Dream Drop Distance. I don't know how far in I was at the time when Coded stopped. This is all a year ago now. I say that I edited Birth by Sleep, and then the Days movie, and I did most of Coded, and I'm not even sure if I really managed to get into DDD at exactly that point. I remember that it was all really down to the wire, and I was like planning like day to day. I got to get this amount done to be ready for next week, and it just I don't know if I was even into DDD or not. I know that it was really tight, and it was a very hectic time of my life, and whatever, one way or the other, it was close. And on top of that, it was like, okay, well, if I finish Coded now, that's like 6 days. I don't have an intro or outro or thumbnails for Dream Drop Distance, or titles. It was gonna get delayed anyway, so I just decided I'll let this go, and I'll get back to it when I can get back to it. And to explain a little bit of what my actual college semester looked like, because this is important to understand. I was a film production major, and the final big film production class is producing a big final film. No surprise there. I did not actually wind up producing my own film. I had written a script, but due to a myriad of reasons, that just didn't quite work out. Doesn't matter right now. But you still have to, go and work on other people's sets and fulfill key creative positions on other people's sets, especially if you're not producing your own film. Then you have to do more stuff to still meet the requirements. So basically, I was working as a crew on basically every set. I think there were 1.5 sets that I wasn't on. There was one set that I wasn't on at all, but it was because it was a pretty small crew. And another set that I was on only half the days, because I basically I begged out and went to go and shoot Kingdom Hearts 3 with Joey, because it was literally the first weekend. That set was the first weekend immediately after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. So I was working on these sets essentially every other weekend, like I said, for a while. Towards the end of the semester, you're not having them anymore, because if you're shooting them that close to the end of the year, you're not going to have time to do any post-production. So eventually they stop. But as the lead editor on 2 of the projects, when the films stopped being shot, that really didn't mean that I was any less busy. It just meant that the work was spread out a little bit more. I had a lot of fun doing all that stuff, obviously. in between just doing whatever general crew jobs I was doing on all of the sets, usually sound stuff. I was also I wound up shooting behind the scenes for a lot of it, and on one of the later sets where I was serving as the editor. The movie had a lot of match cutting and quick cuts in between all kinds of different things, and a lot of continuity stuff that had to be kept straight. So I was actually doing. I wasn't involved on every single scene, but there were a lot of individual shots where, as the guy who was kind of keeping everything together in his head and had all the footage sitting there on his computer, I was helping to kind of line up shots and actors and make sure everything was, looking properly and what. So it was a lot of fun. I got to wear a lot of different hats, and especially towards the end of it, I was trying to juggle editing 2 movies and also trying to get into. And unfortunately, I didn't have time because we were really hoping to put together a nice behind-the-scenes piece for the whole for the whole production season, and I just did not have time with cutting 2 other movies as well. So, considering that I didn't have time to do that, I did not really have time or energy as well. That's the most important thing, energy, to be spending on YouTube stuff. And then on to summer, graduated, moving on, woohoo. I did get back to work on YouTube stuff again, but some of that was working on main channel stuff. Some of that was getting back into LPs, but I was also I was doing actual real freelance editing work. I still am. It's just sporadic, but I was doing a lot of it during the summer. I had a couple of jobs that were pretty involving and took a lot of time. And also my brother was leaving for college. If you've watched some of our E3 streams and stuff, you would have heard about that. My brother was leaving for college, so I also wanted to spend some of the free time that I had with him to do things and stuff like that. But ultimately, it wound up being pretty beneficial, I think, because when I really, really did start taking DDD really seriously in whenever I did, probably like August or something was when I started getting really hot and heavy into DDD again. I had essentially, again, I'm probably going to get times and dates wrong on this and quantities wrong on this, but I know that at some point, late summer or early fall, I went back to DDD, which was essentially at that point done. I had piecemeal finally finished kind of getting it all, but I just kind of looked at it and was like, this is... I sleptwalked through a lot of this. I can probably do it a lot better. And I went and started from the beginning, and just made a whole other pass on the entire playthrough. And then from there, moved on to editing everything else, and then here we are. And I really, really, really wanted to have the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough at least start by, in 2019. I didn't want it to start in 2020, partially just out of being embarrassed that it took that long. I did not want it to have literally taken me a year to get out the playthrough that we shot. But so when DDD came out, I don't think that I actually had, was it the intro? Or I know there was something that I didn't have finished until like the weekend before with episode 1. So like it literally came out as early as it could have. And so I was like, well, crap, if I make this 3 episodes a week, Kingdom Hearts 3 is not going to come out until like January or February at this rate. So I said 5 episodes a week so we can get it out of the way. People want to see KH3 anyway. Let's go. And then it was too much, I think. And then I was left with having to edit the rest of it. And that brings us to the other big question that people tend to ask is there's two questions that that have the same answer, which are, why is it that your episode lengths fluctuate so much? Sometimes they're 25 minutes, sometimes they're 2 hours. And the other one, which is, oh darn, a 30-minute episode, darn, I wanted an hour one. Oh yay, finally an hour episode, woohoo. I know that you guys like some, I don't know, because they say that. So you guys, some people like the longer ones. Some people really don't. Some people don't like having to invest that much time in a YouTube video, which is why I kind of steer away from doing things that are over an hour unless it's the finale of a series where it's like, well, you can't cut. But that's the thing, is that most people, when they are cutting LPs, tend to just... they cut at the length of the episode that they want, be it a 10-minute episode or a 20-minute or 30-minute. They cut close to that number. When I'm cutting stuff, I tend to look for logical gaps endings of cutscenes, between cutscenes, lapses in action, lulls, points where we actually stopped recordings, whatever else. Because I don't like having an episode that's, okay, I don't like ending episodes in the middle of a cutscene or whatever, or in the middle of a boss fight, or in the middle of any fight for that matter, which some people will do and it doesn't matter, but I don't like doing that because I like each episode to feel like an episode. It is its own self-contained thing that has its own sort of arc contained within it. But this leads to certain problems. Easy non-spoiler example. It's the last episode of the Pirates of the Caribbean world. So that episode is like an hour, 5 minutes or something like that. That is an episode that I would have liked to divide into two, both because I wanted to give myself more time to edit episodes because I needed more time to keep working on stuff, and because an hour is really a very long time for a lot of people. The issue was that the 30-minute mark, the nice even point of that recording, was right in the middle of the Davy Jones confrontation, which is a boss fight surrounded on the front and back, like 10 minutes of cutscenes and unbroken content of showing up for the fight, long cutscene, fight against the Kraken, long cutscene, fight against Davy Jones, long FMV CGI cutscene for forever. And it's like the only place where I could have and I didn't want to cut that episode in the middle of the Davy Jones stuff. The only place where I could have logically cut it would have been after Pirates was done and before the story episodes, which would have left it with about, I believe, if I remember correctly, about a 40-minute episode and a 20-minute episode, or thereabouts, approximately. But then the problem was that 20-minute episode, number one, is pretty short, and number two, was really only like 7 minutes worth of cutscenes that Joey and I extended out to 20 minutes by pausing and talking a ton. And so I was like, screw it, I guess I'll just make it an hour. I'm not going to change the editing method for the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough going forward. I'm gonna stay cutting, okay, if it's a 40-minute episode, if it's an hour-long episode, whatever. I'm gonna cut it kind of the way that I've been cutting it. I'm not gonna mess up the rhythm now. Though I am going to say that in the future, you're probably gonna see a pretty harsh 30-minute, 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 30-minute cutoff on a lot of these LPs because I'm making it so much more hard. I'm making it so much more difficult for myself, both from a creative decision-making process when I'm cutting the playthroughs, and also from a, oh boy, great, that's 5 extra days that I don't have to edit because I decided to cut the episode longer. Now, of course, that doesn't mean there won't be exceptions. Like, for example, with the Kingdom Hearts 2 playthrough, episodes were mostly shorter, but then when special occasions came up, like the Battle of 1,000 Heartless or the finale, it needed to be longer. So there will, of course, be special occasions. There will, of course, be, premiere episodes, finales, special occasions where things are long again. Dude, honestly, I think it's just that the pacing of Kingdom Hearts 3 is so lethargic, man. Nothing happens in that game. I have to cut the episodes to be 40 minutes because otherwise it feels like nothing happened. Oh, anyway, but yeah, so that's that. People ask about episode lengths on stuff, and I'm gonna direct them to this video from here on out if they ask, because I don't want to talk about this anymore. Right, the expiration date thing. I mean, that is exactly what it was. It was that it was a real chance I was gonna leave town and go elsewhere in the fall of 2020, and then that would mean no more research runs, because I mean, I'm gonna be real with you, I don't have nearly as much fun doing this without Joey. I mean, and technically I could do, I could still do Frustrated Jacob main channel stuff, but if I've left town to get a real job that takes up more time than occasional freelance work, I'm probably not gonna be doing that much YouTube stuff anyway. That's all that ever was. I just didn't really want to talk about it, and now I didn't have enough information to say anything. I don't like talking about stuff that's so wildly up in the air and vague, because it sets false expectations that you guys shouldn't even be concerned about. The only reason that I even felt the need to say, hey, listen, this channel may end at some point, was because I was making a Patreon page, and I did not want to ask people for money without full disclosure of all circumstances. That was the only reason I ever even talked about it, because it was such a up in the air thing. And otherwise I never would have even mentioned it, because I'm a fairly private person, and honestly, half the stuff that I've said in this video is already almost is towing some lines of things that I'm comfortable putting out there. But whatever, this is probably good for me. I probably need to do this anyway. This will be therapeutic. I don't think I really need to say anything more about Aidan than what I already said in the short version. People ask where she is, and the answer is she's busy. She's off. She's out doing other things. She's out living her life, man. And she's welcome to come back and shoot stuff anytime she likes and she wants to, but she's got other stuff going on. So who knows? Maybe you'll see her again sometime. Maybe you won't. Send her good vibes in the comments section. Tell her how much you miss her if you want to see her back. And then I'll send the comments to her to guilt her. All right, the last thing discussed in the little short version, I'm also gonna fold in some, shall we say, audience questions into it about what are we doing next? What are we playing next? Like I said, not announcing anything. We've got a couple of things already in the works. Joey and I essentially we've finished shooting the next full LP. We're gonna work on some rambles and stuff soon as well. There's a bunch of different things kind of cooking though. For example, when Joshua, my brother, was in town over Christmas vacation, we shot the Titanfall 2 Let's Play, which it's already out on the channel. Go check it out if you haven't. It's something else for you to do while you're waiting for KH3 to come back. And also while he was back in town, he and Joey and I all shot, or at least started to shoot, an LP together. We didn't get super duper far into the game, and Joey and I will naturally be finishing it without Joshua since he's not here anymore, but we did get started on another LP that he and I will get back to at some point in the near future. We'll continue filming. And then also Joshua and I started shooting what we thought was just gonna be a ramble for a couple of episodes, and then we kept going and we beat a pretty substantial chunk of the game. So our plan is, well, I shouldn't say our plan. Our idea is to maybe when he's back in town for like spring break or whatever, finish the game and make it into a full LP. But if not, then it'll be a ramble, so whatever. So Titanfall 2 is already out, and other than that, there's 2 full LPs definitely in the process of existing, and another one that might be a full LP, probably, and some rambles and stuff coming along soon. And as I talked about earlier, I'm gonna be streaming more often than not, hopefully. I've been saying forever that I wanted to stream more Mario Kart 8, and I actually need to do that. Been saying forever I wanted to stream Gravity Rush, which I've never played before, and we're finally gonna start doing that. And we're gonna do, like I talked about during the Titanfall 2 playthrough, I'm gonna be playing through the campaign on the super duper ultra max difficulty and hunting down all of the collectibles that I haven't already found yet, which I believe is all I need to get the platinum trophy in that game, which will be the first platinum I've ever gotten, which may mean that I'm gonna need to go and boot up Uncharted 2 and go and find like the 3 treasures that I have left in that game to find, because I've put hundreds of hours into Uncharted 2, but I just never bothered to look up where the last couple of treasures were. And if I get a platinum, if my first platinum is in Titanfall 2, a game that I got months ago, and not in Uncharted 2, a game that I got in like 2009, and that is one of my favorite games ever, there's something probably a little bit cosmically off about that, but one way or the other, Titanfall 2 will be my first or second platinum trophy, and I'll get it live on stream, and who knows what other fun adventures we'll do on stream in the future. But speaking of future things, because people often ask about, hey Jacob, will you play this? Will you play that? Will you do whatever? For the record, number one, I want to say, always want to hear what you guys' recommendations are. If you have something that you're interested in seeing us LP, I do want to hear about it. There's no promises that we'll do it necessarily, because as this video is clearly outlined already earlier, Joey and I don't get to film that often, but we do, we're always looking for more ideas. So, if you guys have stuff you want to see us film, shout it out in the comments or on Twitter or whatever else. Let us know that you're interested in seeing it, and we'll think about it. If nothing else, maybe I'll read it and laugh and say no. But you never know until you try. You never know until you try. And on that subject, because this is a specific thing that has been asked repeatedly, and I understand why, will you ever do a Persona game? We've addressed this somewhat, but whatever. I'll say it formally. Probably not. The main reason, there are 2 primary factors that kind of go together. Number one, that's the type of game that I would really want to do with at least one person blind. And Joey's played all of the Persona games, or at least I shouldn't say no. He's played all of the real Persona games. That is to say, the games since Persona 3. So I'd like to do one of those games blind, which would mean doing it with Aidan, which then presents the problem of Aidan's not really around to shoot stuff, and on top of that, if Aidan was around to shoot stuff, her availability would probably be pretty harshly limited, and those games are insanely long. They would be even longer the way that I would want to play them, probably. So it's just, it's absolutely something that I would love to do, but it is, it's not logistically impossible, but it is extremely unlikely, so don't hold your breath. That is extremely high on the list of things that I would like to do, but it is very low on the list of things that are likely to happen. Sorry, folks. I think that's all I got for today, hopefully. I've been talking for too long yet again. This is why I did the scripted thing up front, so that it would be digestible for people instead of this unintelligible slop that I'm spilling loosely from my mouth into the microphone with random gameplay footage slapped on in the background. Whoopee. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. Cause if not, there's no refunds. And Kingdom Hearts 3 will be back on March 13th for the final episodes of finally the story will begin. Yay! I'm very tired. This video was supposed to be out on Friday morning. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, streams will be coming. They'll be happening periodically and all that kind of stuff. Hope you tune in and have fun. If not, have fun with whatever you're doing instead. Have a good day, have a good week, have a good month, have a good life. Kingdom Hearts 3 will be back, and then there will be other things after that. On the Research Runs YouTube channel that I hope you will enjoy. Bye!